Hello and welcome back to Collectibles and Comments. This is Mel, I'm your host, and I talk about some of the things I've collected over the years on this channel, as well as tell a little bit of the stories behind them. What you're looking at now is an American flag, and this one was actually presented to my mother-in-law after the death of my father-in-law. His name was David Fulbright. I have it resting this way because the little nameplate has come off. But since it's Memorial Day weekend, I wanted to pause and remember some of the veterans in my life that are no longer with us, and this flag represents the life of David Fulbright, my father-in-law, who actually did serve in active duty during the Korean War. And as I said, this flag, when he passed, was presented to my mother-in-law, and when she passed, my wife now has it, and it sits in a place of honor in our house on the shelf. As a matter of fact, what was really interesting is my father-in-law's sister just sent us this lovely little picture of my father-in-law. That's him there, the handsome guy right there. When he left the war, he went back to his hometown of Paris, Texas, and he worked in a little store, and that was one of the things he enjoyed most, working with his customers, and he loved that little small town of Paris, Texas. So on this weekend, I just wanted to pause and think about him and his service. So I'll move on. So this handsome gentleman is my older brother. He also served in active duty. He was in the Persian Gulf War in Operation Desert Storm. He is no longer with us. He also was a great man and gave his entire life to the military. He was in the military, a career military gentleman. Rose to the rank of Sergeant First Class. Unfortunately, he had multiple sclerosis, and he lived out the last parts of his life in a veteran's home. Some of the pieces here, this little piece here, was something we created after he had become really ill. We couldn't, for celebrations like birthdays and Christmas and other things, we really couldn't bring food anymore. He had a feeding tube in, so it was hard to purchase things for him. So I would create these little pieces and I would give them to him. And this one, I had a little plaque made. It says Sergeant Linwood S. Brock Jr., our hero. And this is a McFarlane figure, and I actually thought it looked a little bit like my big brother when I saw it, and I painted a little mustache on him to look like him. And my dad and my siblings, we all signed this, and we gave this to him one day. Probably it was either Father's Day or maybe a birthday. This was a piece that I created after he passed. This is actually a G.I. Joe figure, but the outfit actually came off of another figure because it was a Operation Desert Storm outfit. But the figure sat by his bedside when he was at the veterans home, and it had been moved around a lot, so it kind of got beat up. And after he passed, I kept the outfit. The actual figure I had to get rid of, but we kept the I had this G.I. Joe figure, and I kind of put this, and I made this little piece here. And if you'll notice in the back, my brother's final resting place is at Arlington Cemetery, and when I went there, that's a piece of Velcro I put here. I kind of made this little piece out of the magnet This is a little magnet that you can pick up at Arlington Cemetery. And so I created this in honor of him. And it sat on the mantle downstairs. There we go. And a couple of other quick pieces. These are the little tokens that if you go to the Visitor Center at Arlington, you can pick up things like this. This one says Arlington National Cemetery, and it has the Robert E. Lee Memorial Arlington House on the back. This was a lapel pin that I have, and this actually was my brother's, this U.S. Army pin. And of course, last year at Memorial Day, when I was there, I took this photograph of his final resting place. What I thought, and just kind of choked me up when I saw it, I knew they put the flags down, but they had actually placed like a single red rose at the grave sites of the fallen. I thought that was particularly special as you look and see all of the heroes that are there. So anyway, this is a reflective version of collectibles and comments. So during this Memorial Day weekend, please stop and think about all of our heroes that are no longer with us, who gave their lives so that the rest of us could be free, who volunteered in many cases to put themselves in harm's way. And we owe them a debt that we could never repay. So for my father-in-law and my brother, and for all the brothers and sisters out there who are no longer with us who served, we owe you our gratitude, our thanks, and we love you. So, this has been Collectibles and Comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again later. Bye-bye.